Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back with another match of the Commonwealth Sevens. This one, it is a big deciding game between Australia and Kenya. Now for Australia, if they win this game very comfortably, it does mean there's a chance that Uganda could make their way through to the quarterfinals, whereas Kenya, all they need to do is get themselves the point in this game and also not have it as a complete runaway. But with the way that Australia played up against Uganda, there is certainly potential that Kenya could get themselves the victory. But in the Kenyan starting lineup, it is going to be Mwale, Otieno, Odiambo, Omondi, Hamwa, Oyo, and Olindi. Then for Australia, they've got Henry Hutchinson, they've got Samu Karevi. Man, he went brilliantly in his first game, switching back from the rugby union side of things. And then also alongside him, another player from rugby union, Mark Nawaqanitawasi. He is there at number 9. Matt Gonzalez, Ben Dowling, and Nick Maloof, and Josh Turner. But nonetheless, this game just about to get underway. Australia versus Kenya, the first men's match of the channel that we are covering today, I guess you could say. But it is the second match of Pool D. Nicely taken by Mark Nawaqanitawasi. Glides through the sky, and Gonzalez now gives it off. Henry Hutchinson, Samu Karevi, trying to use his size and his strength. So I believe in this contest. Kenya win the penalty just there, but they do need Australia to win by about 30 or 40 points plus for Kenya to be dropping below what the Ugandans are on, which would be a massive upset to have Uganda go through. It looks like Kenya want the scrum, though, using up a little bit more time. And the winner of this game will either take on Samoa or New Zealand. So two massive opponents for whoever makes their way through this contest in first and second. Now front row's going down. It will be Olindi about to feed this ball in for Kenya. We've been looking relatively strong throughout this competition. And Uganda drew with Oz Mad, says Laxassel. Yeah, upset of the competition so far, I'd have to say. It was absolutely brilliantly done by Uganda. They showed their strength. Samu Karevi just showed his strength, just trying to well and truly smack into the Kenyan. Nice run by Otieno. Gets driven backwards 40 metres out from the line now. Nice sell at a dummy from Bush Mwale. Dragged down in the end by Ben Dowling. And this is going to be a hard game, physical game for the Aussies before they get into the quarterfinals. No matter what, they have confirmed themselves their spot. Unless, of course, Kenya win by about 50 points. The chances of that happening in this game are relatively slim. Now Otieno once again breaking through, uses his size and the strength. Ball on the outside. Bush Mwale. Oh, big shot on him. That's going to be a yellow card for Australia there. Lifting the legs above his head. So that is going to be Mark Nawaqanitawasi who goes to the bin, I should say, for the next 2 minutes. Got a little bit too excited there, Mark Nawaqanitawasi. I say his name so perfectly during union. Now that we're in sevens, because I'm talking quicker, just doesn't want to roll off the tongue. But Mark Nawaqanitawasi, he's going to spend the next 2 minutes on the sideline. Tipping him above the horizontal. Mwale hit hard on his back. Gets a big hug from him, though, after he does end up getting the yellow card. So he will be off the field for 2 minutes. Unlike union, we would normally spend 10 minutes off the field for a tackle such as that. But Olindi about to feed the ball in big front row here. And also Max the 500 plays has got the waving emoji. Hope you are doing well, mate. Come on, Oz. Says Ed, currently 0-0 after 2 minutes in this contest. Hopefully our scoreboard does start updating itself relatively soon. Referee looked to blow his whistle, but instead lets it play on. Olindi now passing across. Otieno just drifted forward in a pass to Oyo, but they have said it's gone backwards enough. Dowling has to make the tackle on the big Kenyan number 9. Back across now for Kenya. Nice stepping from number 10, Olindi. He's been prominent throughout the early stages of this match for the first 2 minutes. Now, once again, it will be passed off from Oyo. Another step from Olindi, trying to break his way through, but Dowling makes yet again another tackle. Probably the two most, I guess, prominent figures in the two sides. Now, Bush Mwale, great low tackle on him by Nick Maloof, had to be made, or else Kenya were going in for their first, still 5 metres out, and it's going to be an advantage for offside in favour of Kenya. Otieno looks short side, and he slams the ball down as well, and that will be the first try of the match for Kenya. They are on fire at the moment in the sevens, and he is well and truly hyped up for the way that one's gone. Alvin Otieno goes short side. Nick Maloof tried to stop him. He literally slammed that ball down as if there was a basketball hoop right there and he was trying to slam dunk it. slams it bang down. He almost headbutted the ball as well. Luckily, he headbutted the ball, not the ground, or else he might have knocked himself unconscious. But he gets the try. It's a good drop kick, a depth. It's got the distance, just misses away to the right-hand side for Olindi. But Kenya, they have struck first in this contest, and they are now 5-0 up over Australia after the first 3.5 minutes. But Otieno, it's been brilliant. We didn't see much dancing after that one, but I think there will be the dancing coming out a little bit later on. Definitely if Kenya make it far in this competition past their quarterfinal fixture, it will either be up against New Zealand or Samoa. Like I mentioned, 2 big matches coming later on tonight, or later on this morning, I guess I should say, which we will be covering on the channel. Has gone backwards off the hands of Nathan Lawson. Now Samu Karevi having a run it backwards is taken down, but inside of the 22 now for Australia. I see that Corey Toole wasn't in their starting lineup, which is an interesting choice. That was a big shot, and that's also going to be a high shot. It's going to be going upstairs. This might be a Kenyan player now making his way to the bin. Luckily, Nick Malouf has got up. Right. The player was falling is the comment from the commentators. Who do you think, or who do you pick to win this game? I mean, Kenya are playing very well, but Australia normally sometimes do start a little bit slow up against Kenya. Okay, there's a drop in height. What are we seeing here? It's a yellow card. So it is now going to be Kenya going down to the 6-man Bushmwale of the field. So I'm going to say Australia managed to win it, but only just. So I don't think it's going to be enough for Uganda to make it through to the quarterfinals. I think these two sides will make their way through. But Mark Nawaqanitawase now making his way back out onto the field, joining up with his side. Quick tap taken by number 8, Josh Turner. In fact, Matthew Gonzalez there at 8. Samu Karevi ball on the outside to Mark Nawaqanitawase, trying to break up the middle. He was called the young Israel Folau in his youth. It's a knock on, though, which is the mistake that he wouldn't have wanted to make. Samu Karevi not too happy with that call. And now Kenya will have themselves a scrum feed. The more time that is used up in the set play with scrums and lineouts for Kenya, the better, while they wait for 1 minute 30 and their player to return from the bin. They are just showing Kenya's previous results. Their first game up against Uganda was a brilliant one, 27 points to 14 for the win. And then Jamaica, they were able to beat them 45-0. And there as well, Australia, they did have their draw with the Ugandans. We've really impressed. Probably the underdogs that have really shone throughout this competition. And also we have got the Australia down the way. So here's Ethan there, and I am actually just doing something on my reviews videos. So here's Brandon there as well. A lot of enthusiasm, like they're mentioning, from Kenya. They want to go for the scrum feed once again, and Hamwa in the front line. Going to be fired up. And Alexius Cooper, welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing well. I should mention, ladies and gentlemen, there are some more matches taking place pretty much straight after this one. The first of which we are covering is Sri Lanka versus Samoa. Then after that game, it will be New Zealand versus England, followed by, I believe it is Malaysia versus Tonga, Scotland versus South Africa, and then to close it out for the night, or the first session of the night, I should say, it will be Wales versus Fiji. Nice offload there from Hamwa. Quick hands out the back line for Kenya. Odiambo just shoves off Nathan Lawson. Tries to get rid of him now on Monday. Gives it off into the hands of the number 10 once again, Olindi from Auckland North Shore. There's Cooper. So you will be very impressed with how the Kiwis have gone throughout this tournament, I would think. And also gold medal and silver medal wise, they have done very nicely as well. Nick Malouf kicks it forward. He's been able to jump on the ball as well. Nicely done by Australia, showing a bit of fight in the breakdown with 1 minute left in the first half. Malouf just able to get it away to Karevi. One more on the outside. This is looking dangerous now for the Aussies. Dallying on the outside to Nawaqanitawase. Tries to step, almost slips, and he's dropped the ball again. Mark Nawaqanitawase. Tell you what, Kenya disappointed. Oh, no, they're not. They're just fired up. Otieno's fired up. I thought for a second he was slapping the ground out of frustration, whereas wins the semi. Says Ed. So for the women's side of things for the semi-finals, I believe it's going to be at about 5:30 a.m., whereas for the men's, we have got the quarterfinals coming up, and the first of which will be at about 7:20, last one at 8:30, somewhere around there, but I will get you the exact stats or the exact times in a very short moment while it is loading. We are just about at halftime in this contest, and still only 5-0 for Kenya, and I keep you're only 2 hours drive to me. Says Brandon there as well. With the ball about to go in, there's 6 seconds left, so I think Kenya, more than likely what they will do is they will get this ball, they will kick it out, although they've had a little bit of a mistake. It's going to be a back heel, it's a knock on, And that is now going to be halftime in this contest between Kenya and Australia. A closely fought one, 5-0 for the Kenyans. But geez, this is getting close for the second half, perhaps. Pool D, it is all in the balance, like I've mentioned. So the quarterfinals for the men's, the actual quarterfinals, because of course everyone still plays another game. The first quarterfinal will be at 7:26 a.m. and the last one will be taking place at 8:32 a.m. So they are all back to back to back for the 4 men's quarterfinals. And then the semi-finals for the men's, they will be coming up at 11:42 p.m. tomorrow night on Sunday, and then also 12:04 a.m. for the other semi-final on Monday morning. Are you going to see some of my videos and live streams? Says Brandon, I probably won't get much of a chance throughout the sevens just because of how hectic it has been lately in WhatsApp, says Ateni in there as well. I don't actually have WhatsApp. I think I did think about downloading it at one point, but then I didn't end up actually getting it. New Zealand versus South Africa just about to start as well for the batting side of things. New Zealand, they will be at the crease first. And I should also mention for the women's semi-finals when they do come up, the New Zealand-England score prediction, I think New Zealand win it relatively comfortably. From what I saw in their last game up against Canada, it did just look, oh, sorry, they didn't actually play Canada, did they? They played England in their last game. But I think if it's anything like what we saw in the women's game, I think New Zealand win it relatively comfortably. England just haven't quite fired in this competition the way that everyone thought that they would. The first women's game, it is at 4:30 a.m. That would be England versus South Africa. But the first semi-final is New Zealand versus Australia at 6:42 a.m. It's simple all the way, says Ethan in there as well. And then Fiji versus Canada, the other semi-final for the women's, that will be kicking off at 7:04 a.m. And come on, Australia, I need some good news. Add a couple of days, says Luke. So hopefully it does get better for you, mate. And hopefully the Aussies can help you out and get you at least a medal in these sevens as well. No matter what, they do make their way through to the quarterfinals. So even if they do struggle up against the Kenyans, they will still get themselves another opportunity to face off against either Samoa or New Zealand. So it's going to be a tough quarterfinal for them either way. All taken in the air, and that's going to be just a penalty against Nathan Lawson. A little bit lucky there. Could have ended up with himself going to the bin. Omondi has stayed down. I think they want to have a bit of a discussion about whether or not the player could have pulled out of this one. It was hit in the air for Omondi. They're saying it would normally be a card. Australia women's down to Fiji is not a good sign. Hopefully they get back on, says Ed. And yeah, they're going to be going head-to-head with New Zealand. A lot of people picked Australia as the favourites to be able to go on and win this contest, or win this competition, I should say. Okay, they want to check this one. Okay, so they have just explained the rules. So pretty much if the Australian player has eyes for the ball, it counts as a rugby collision, and that is just kind of the penalty side of things. But he didn't actually have his eyes for the ball. I believe this is going to be a yellow card for one of the Australian players. And well, Kenya, as well, says, I know he has Karevi played any games. He has actually played all of the games for Australia, I believe. And he has scored 3 tries for himself throughout this competition. He was almost getting the hat-trick in the first game, though. So maybe he didn't play in the second. It's a penalty to Kenya now. And yes, so here's Cooper Cronk. And the scrum feed is called by the big Kenyan fullback. Okay, it sounds like Australia are going to be making a sub. And speaking of subs, man has just made his way out onto the field. He has got the face guard or the kind of eye guard just because he's having a little bit of trouble with his sight recently. But it is great to see him back out there. That is Willie Mbaka. Ball now fed in for Kenya. If they can get themselves another try while they have a man advantage, that would be absolutely huge for the scheme of things for the Kenyans. And I might book them a date up against either Samoa or New Zealand in the next round. Either way, it's going to be a tough game. And I don't know who Kenya would prefer to play in that next round. Do you think Karevi should play NRL and be a star or average? Or could play NRL, and be a star or average? It's an interesting one because I know with Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, a lot of people said as soon as he transferred to Union, everyone said he was going to be the biggest player. But it's a tricky one. If you give him a couple years, I think he could certainly do well because he has got a strong offloading game coming from a sevens background for Samu Karevi. He runs the ball hard. So I think you give him a season or two and he would be dangerous. Samu Karevi just bumps off a tackle right on cue, but Odiambo, brilliant low tackle made, try saving from Odiambo, but now 5 meters out, Samu Karevi. I guess the bigger question would be, where would you place Samu Karevi if you did have him in the NRL? What position would you give him? Now, Maloof plays halfback. Karevi's actually injured at the moment by the looks of it. I think he's done something to his knee. Well, this one, so that is not what Australia would have been wanting, bringing him in specifically for the Sevens. Now, Corey Toole, plenty of pace. He's considering running straight sideways on Mondi, and a couple other Kenyans managed to shut him down, and they have just got him held like he is a small child, and he's in the huddle. Kenyans are pretty much saying to him, we're in the lead. You either let go of this ball, or we will walk you to the touchline. Corey Toole has no option. He's trying to mount a man like it's a tree. And now Corey Toole is still getting walked towards the touchline. Kenya are just doing a powerful, dominant walk of Corey Toole, and that will be forced into touch. Brilliant work from Kenya. And come on, Kenya. Karevi is a good centre, says the Infinity family. And also, Union players transition to the league very well. League to Union without at least a schoolboy background does not always work. When it did work, Wendell Saylor, perfect example, says Luke there. But yeah, they were all getting right in Corey Toole's face there, the Kenyan players. He had 5 of them all pushing him out. He had no option but to go into touch. Now Tabu going to be throwing this ball in for Kenya. Wasn't in the starting lineup for this match. But now throws it into the middle. It's gone straight over the top. Oh, there's Samu Karevi still making his way off the field. So that is a concerning injury for Samu Karevi, not just for the Sevens side of things, but also the Rugby World Cup for the Sevens was coming up, and also the Rugby Championship and the Union side of things. Now Tabu throws the ball in over the top. It's a loose line out, and this time it's claimed by the Aussies. Matt Gonzalez fires it off to Corey Toole. If he gets enough space, he can beat a man on the outside, but he has to run sideways, which is brilliant defense from the Kenyans. Roach out on the field now. Dietrich Roach, that is. Henry Hutchinson, one of the key players for Australia throughout past tournaments, now has the ball in his hands. Fends off one tackle, goes through the gap. Now Henry Hutchinson, Gray running. One more on the outside to Corey Toole. He goes through and he will score the try now for the Australians, making it an easier kick as well. And Australia get themselves just a little bit further back into the match. We have a new member of the channel, Enoki. Thank you very much for hitting that membership button, mate. You now have access to the exclusive emojis on the channel, and it is hugely appreciated. You're supporting us in our ventures, I was going to say, but I said venues. What is a venue? I'm not too sure what a venue is. And also, there was Karevi going to play in the Rugby Championship, says Alex. I don't know whether or not they were going to release him for the later games. Maybe he was going to end up playing up against either the All Blacks or South Africa. I thought the initial plan was for him to come over for this and then either head to Japan or go to the Rugby Championship for the later stages of the competition. Although he might stick around for a little bit longer if he is injury-free. Maybe he does play right up until the Sevens World Cup, similar to what we will see from Mark Nawaqanitawasi, as he wasn't selected in the Wallabies side. And Corey Toole scoring the try, and that conversion has gone over, which now means that Australia will have themselves a 7-5 lead with 3 minutes left on the clock. Dietrich Roach going to be kicking this one off, and you'd have to say that him, Henry Hutchinson, and Corey Toole all having an impact since making their way out there. It's a mistake from Kenya, followed by a knock-on from Australia. It will be the scrum feed now for the Australians. And also we have got there, Do Know Joe Say Something. And there's, see that Brandon there. If it did go past, I might have missed it there as well from earlier on. I don't see it, Brandon, that I know of. Now, 2 minutes 30 left. Australia with a 2-point lead over the tough Kenyan opposition. As this final half or second half, it is the second half. For some reason, the scoreboard always still says first half, no matter what minute it is. But 2 minutes left of the second half in this one. Corey Toole joins the breakdown. Matt Gonzalez on the halfway line. Dietrich Roach back across now for the Aussies. And they are starting to get a lot more position in the second half, which is very useful for them if they do want a chance of being able to close out this game with a win. I would say there was a knock-on on the ground, and the referee feels it was the same way. And now it does become the scrum feed for Kenya. Still 2 minutes left in the second half, so plenty of time for either side to get themselves a match-winning try. Whoever wins it will be top of Pool D, and whoever ends up losing it will be second in Pool D. And for everyone wondering who the quarterfinals are, Samoa and New Zealand, for these two sides, that's going to be very tricky. And who do you think will win the Rugby Championship, says Alex? I think South Africa have got a real good chance. Luckily for them this year, they've got the home field advantage for a few of their games, and I think that's going to be absolutely crucial for them. They were a bit unlucky last year getting added back in. They've had one more year of rugby. I think they're going to do pretty well. And I actually do see them having the chance of beating the All Blacks 2-0 in those first two matches. And probably the boxing on Aussie, says Ed Vogel. And just say something again, I don't know what thing's going on in 2 minutes. Still a century and 7, says the Infinity family. Exactly right. 2 minutes does not fly by in a game of sevens, unless, of course, or can you get another penalty? Right. This is a great opportunity for the Kenyans with 1 minute 15 left on the clock. Nice work in the breakdown by Edmund Anya. Down by 2 currently. A penalty would win it for them, but I doubt Kenya are looking that way. They will be trying to score themselves a try in the last moments of this contest. I do see that a couple other subs have been made for both of these sides. I see that Maurice Longbottom out there on the field now for Australia, and then alongside him, it is Wekesa has made his way onto the field for Kenya. And Kenya as well, says Jackson. And they're doing very nicely at the moment for themselves. 40 seconds left. Kenya attacking now, trying to bump off the tackle of Dietrich Roach. But he does get taken down in a great tackle now once again in the midfield for Kenya. Anya. It's a little bit close. Still 40 out for the Kenyans. They are using their backline nicely. A man who can certainly cause an impact. Odiambo finds the offload now. Good bump off. But Vincent Onyala does continue to drive forward for Kenya. It's a bit of a loose ball for their backline, but it sits up nicely now. Now doesn't quite find that ball that he needed on the outside. Trying to get that one back was Australia now trying to hurdle over Dietrich Roach. He was down on the ground. He actually played him. And I think this could end up being a penalty. Maybe even a yellow card against Dietrich Roach for taking the man on the ground. That was a very risky penalty to give away. But it does mean that Kenya have now got themselves another penalty. Only about 30 meters out or so. And like they're saying, it easily could have been a yellow card to Dietrich Roach for cynical play there. Now running sideways here. Nice wide cutout pass. Good pressure from Maloof. Odiambo considered the offload, but instead it will be available out the back once again for Ta'abu. On the halfway line, the crowd are getting behind the Kenyans. Can they do it? Can they get themselves a victory? Kenya, let's capitalize, says the Infinity family. Odiambo dragged down on the halfway line. Once again, the ball goes back. Kenya under a lot of pressure here. Now Maurice Longbottom gets over the ball, but it's a penalty to Kenya. And, he almost got marched back 10 there. Maurice Longbottom after asking for the penalty to go the other way. Looks like Kenya want the scrum now. It was called by Daniel Ta'abu. This is going to be a close finish to this game. I think the other games that were going to be taking place a bit earlier on are going to be slightly delayed due to the way that this match is going. But our next game that we are covering on the channel, it is going to be the match between Sri Lanka and Samoa. And it is only just a little bit away from kicking off. Kenya, another opportunity. We are up to about, I'd say, 16 minutes through this sevens contest. It's available at the back for Kenya. Can they make history and beat the Aussies once again? Nice work there, Anya. It's a penalty to Australia, and I think that will just be the game. Unfortunately, the crowd are booing it. They are not happy with the way that it's gone. Dietrich Roach more than likely will take the tap and kick this one into touch, but this is promising for Kenya. They've shown that they can certainly hang with some tough opposition, and I look forward to seeing them in the semi-final. Dietrich Roach kicks it into touch and blowing up at the last, says Caleb. And yeah, but it will be the win in the end for Australia, 7 points to 5. But the good news is Kenya are still through to the quarterfinal, so this doesn't change anything other than the opposition that they will have in their next match. But nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning in. We will be back for the quarterfinal fixture later on, but we will now be transferring over to our next live stream between Samoa and Sri Lanka. But thank you all very much for tuning in, and I will see you all for the next one.